in Vegas tonight. Porter's like plus 500. It's pretty. I thought it would be a little bit closer odds, but I think the bookies looking at it like I'm looking. Hold on, let me fix this. The bookies looking at it as I'm looking at it, like I think Crawford's just gonna win, but like, what does that really mean? Like Porter's an excellent. Porter's actually probably been in the ring with better guys than Crawford overall.
He's had more fights than Crawford, definitely.
More.
We're talking like 300 or something.
No. That was in amateurs when they say stuff like that. That's amateurs. No, Porter's got.
Yeah, but I'm saying just lifetime.
Oh yeah, but Crawford's
not just pro.
Yeah, but Crawford's got a lot of fights in him too, all time. True. They're both about the same age. Crawford just had on the ESPN side and the top ranked side. They haven't had all the the PBC where Porter's at has all the good welterweights, almost all. That's why he got to fight Broner, Thurman, Danny Garcia, Spence, Ugas, even before that, Julio, what's his name? Julio Diaz, he fought, was pretty good. So he fought more guys because he's on, and the PBC, they don't like fighting outside of their PBC territory. That's why they've frozen Crawford out. So they've been scrapping to find guys for Crawford to fight, like Benavidez Jr., Amir Khan, who's a little bit past his prime. He beat him pretty good. Then he also fought Kavalauskas, who people didn't know about, who people still don't know, don't give him his respect and how good he is. Then when he was at 140 and he went undisputed, he beat Ndango, who people didn't know about, so they didn't respect it. He beat Victor Postal for some reason, of course, a Russian guy they don't want to respect, even though they know Victor Postal was nice. He beat Ricky Burns when he won his first title, a good British fighter. He beat Gamboa, who they didn't respect it because
he beat the bricks off Gamboa. Dude.
Gamboa was undefeated pound for pound at the time. Gamboa was highly thought of. So when he beat Gamboa had, what happened was after he beat Gamboa, other people started beating Gamboa. Gamboa fought tough fights, so Gamboa got losses. So people were like, it wasn't that big deal. He beat Gamboa, but Gamboa was undefeated when he beat him. Victor Postal, undefeated champion when he beat him. Ndango, undefeated unified champion when he beat him. Jeff Horn, undefeated champion. He beat the shit out of Jeff Horn after Horn beat Pacquiao in that controversial. Remember when Jeff Horn beat Pacquiao? Yeah. Crawford beat him in the next fight, Horn, and beat the shit out of him. But it wasn't Omaha, in Crawford's hometown. But still, that's where you got to respect the Horn fight. Horn was an undefeated WBO champion. Crawford beat the brakes off him. And he, Horn went downhill after that. I think Crawford demoralizes guys too after he fights them and kind of brings them down. That's how that's how ferocious he is sometimes.
Yeah, he gets hit, he gets mad.
He breaks your will.
He starts bringing it. For real.
Yeah,
he's a bit of scary looking dude too.
Yeah, he's got that demeanor too.
He has that look like he'll fuck you up.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think he even said that in an interview. He's like, "Yo, I'm just gonna whoop your ass." Yeah. That's all he's gonna say.
Yeah, I'll get with Porter, right? He said, "I'm gonna whoop your ass."
Yeah, that's just like the bottom line almost.
We get all this talking right now. It don't mean nothing.
I know.
I'll see you in the ring. I'm waiting for the bell to ring. Ding.
It's gonna be a good fight, though.
Yeah.
I kind of think. I don't know. I think it's gonna go the distance.
You do, right?
Yeah. I think it is. I think it will.
I wouldn't be surprised if it went the distance. No one's really stopped Porter. I don't think Porter's ever been stopped. I think in his losses, he's always went the distance with everyone. Yeah, he hasn't had a fight that hasn't gone the distance. Even Porter fights go the distance. If you watch Porter, the Broner fight went the distance. Ugas went the distance. Garcia went the distance. Thurman went the distance. Spence went the distance. Yeah, every Porter fight went the distance. I think that's not going to happen tonight. I think this is the first fight Porter gets stopped tonight with Bud. I think it can happen anytime after the 8th round. I think Porter's been in wars. I'm just going to take this angle. Porter's been in wars, and I just think this is not an indictment on Porter. Porter, I got a lot of respect for Porter. I think he's a dog. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's done great for boxing. I think he's just been, he's tough. He brings something different. He brings almost like a scrappy, like almost a football player type of fight to the fight.
Yeah, he's a bit of a bull.
He's a bull. He likes to mix it up. He likes to get inside. There could be elbows thrown. He's a rough dude. You know what I mean, Porter? He's tough. He's got a great chin.
He's got a great coach. His pops.
Kenny Porter, we love KP. He's the truth.
Yep.
He's the OG. And they've taken a lot of heat from the LDBC. He had that beef with Blue Blood from over there. And Kenny Porter, he don't crack down, bow down to any of them. He's like, this is what we do. This is who we are. And we're not going to change. So I got a lot of respect for Sean and Kenny on that side. And they're competitive, highly competitive. Porter also has good feet on the outside. He's a good athlete. I saw he had some footwork that bothered Spence that I wish he would have stayed with more in that fight. He probably would have even won in more people's eyes, because every time he used that good quick footwork on the outside, he made Spence reset. So I'm looking for him to do that against Crawford. That's going to be his way of having a good fight against Crawford. The footwork on the outside, making Crawford reset and kind of slowing the fight down. So where there's actually less hand-to-hand combat, where there's more maybe just jabbing on the outside. And Porter looks good on the outside. He bops around good. He's good he moves quick, fluidly, and he kind of can do a little boop, boop, and it'll make Crawford reset. And that will slow the fight down, so where there's more of a chance where Porter could get the upper hand. I think in the trenches, Porter's tough in the short range, but he doesn't have natural understanding of the punch selection. I think that's his weakness, where he gets in there and he'll throw a hook when it should have been an uppercut, something like that.
He's a little too impulsive.
Yeah, he's not impulsive. He thinks a little bit. I don't think it's natural, that part of it to him. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Where it's natural for Spence or Crawford or some of those guys. I think his output, his heart, and he has that football heart where he just keeps going though. So that's what makes him really tough to beat. So when in a normal fight against the other guy, when they slow down is when Porter gets his points.
Okay.
Because they're resting and he's not. That's the thing with him. If stamina's not good, Porter will wear you out. You know what I mean? That's what he did to Danny Garcia. Basically wore him out. And one of the best fights was Porter and Keith Thurman. I think people forget how great of a fight that was. That unification. Wow, I'd be willing to watch that with you again one time. We'll go YouTube that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Porter and Keith Thurman. What a fight that was. But Terrence Crawford on the other side. What can you say? You were telling me before about, we were talking about the switching from orthodox to southpaw on the fly.
Yeah, he calls himself like the best switch hitter in the game.
Yeah, and he's not lying.
He moves really smooth, and
Good
he's
athlete.
very precise with his punches
Very precise.
and his punch selection.
Yes, yeah.
So, but here's what I think. I think it is going to go the distance.
Okay,
and I think they kind of have it out for Bud.
Yeah, they do.
In a way,
yeah,
where they've been kind of shitting on him.
Freezing him out.
Freezing
big
him
fight,
out. Yeah, exactly.
Big fights.
And I think they're going to give the decision to Sean Porter.
So you think Porter going to steal one from Crawford?
In a way, yeah, I think that'll happen because he's already in the broadcasting booth. He's already calling fights. He's right next to Max Kellerman. So maybe it's time for him to hang up the gloves or, and move on to the next phase. Because he seems like he still has his brain. Like he's not punchy or anything.
No.
So that's a good time to bow out.
It's smooth.
At that point.
Good thinking.
Be smart about your money. And he seems like he's got good guidance with his father by his side.
And you want to know an interesting angle you just made me think about with that statement that I didn't even think about before? Crawford and Bob Arum have beef, have had some issues over the last year. Bob Arum could be a very vindictive guy, and he may have the judges sway towards Porter. Because him and Crawford, Crawford's kind of put it out there that this may be his last fight on Top Rank. Might be going to the PBC, who knows, to get those bigger fights. It's interesting crossroads here because of the Crawford and Arum going back and forth in the media. We don't know what's been behind closed doors, and we know Bob Arum's been known to have some fuzzy judges for sure. I mean, look at the Lomachenko-Teofimo Lopez fight, where Lopez, to him, is more his young star. Loma was talking about going in with Eddie Hearn. Next thing you know, Loma got some whack judges against Teofimo. And then even though you could say the regular fight he lost close, there was a judge who had a 10-2 Teofimo. So we didn't know that didn't happen in that fight. So, yeah, it could be Bob Arum pulling a stunt too with Porter.
Like some Vince McMahon shit.
Yeah, he's
you know, boxing kind of has that sports entertainment vibe these days too, especially like with the Fury and Wilder fight. Those entrances and it's like a circus.
Yeah, and Fury and Wilder had a lot of WWE type. of things
there's a lot
on.
of heel face shit going on, but both of them were kind of like heels.
It is kind of right.
It was more like NWO era shit.
Yeah,
in a way,
with two heels going at it, right?
Calling him a fucking dosser.
Yeah,
and all that.
Yeah, and so Porter, you know, this fight too with Porter, this might be his last. I don't know. I wouldn't say his last, but could be a last time at a title shot for him. You know, he didn't come. He got the title shot against Spence. Didn't come to. And that was a unification. Let me not bell myself, but Porter's had some interesting fights. Like I thought. It was really close in Spence, and I thought that little knockdown where his glove touched the floor, I think gave it Spence 6-6 with the knockdown. But I thought that the referees didn't understand that. I mean, the judges didn't understand that Porter was winning those early rounds because Porter controlled the pace of the Spence fight. That's why it was so close. Porter was able to fight that fight he wanted to fight. He couldn't keep Errol just didn't seem to have enough power to keep Porter off of him. Like, it's funny because Porter beat Ugas. When Porter fought Ugas, he won by split decision. And I did not think he won that fight against Ugas. But I thought maybe he fought Spence better than he fought Ugas. But he got the win against Ugas, which I didn't agree with at all. And a lot of people didn't. But, and then the Porter Thurman fight, that was another close fight, split decision. That could have went either way. Porter was, they were just banging out. And that was just a exciting fight. Crawford tonight, though, I think is a lot of, like you were saying before, a lot of expectation with him. This is people looking at him like this is his biggest fight. Like this is finally he's fighting an elite fighter, which I don't agree with. But in name value, Porter has the best name value probably right at the moment that Crawford's ever fought against. So
yeah, well, this is the fight everyone's waiting for.
Yeah,
in the division. Because who else is there? Well,
there's always this Spence fight, but because Spence has been hiding in the bushes with Crawford.
Look, if Bud wins this fight, Spence has to be next. Then
we think so. The fans, we want that, and we think so. But boxing is boxing, and y'all know that out there. Like
where's the money?
I personally think what's going to happen is if Bud wins tonight, and I don't know I think Spence is going to move to 154.
You think so?
Yeah. Because I think the problem with Spence, and they're not trying to say this, is that he can't make 147 healthily anymore. So why they're not dumb enough to understand that they're risking him getting fucked up by somebody at 147. Like they played games with Ugas just now. Like Ugas had his title. He beat Pacquiao, remember, right? Of course. So Ugas was the WBA champion. Spence is the WBC and IBF. They're both on the PBC fight. So people are like, okay, Spence is going to fight Ugas. That's got to be the next fight on that side because they both in the same promotion. Same, that's an easy one to make. Boom. They both want it. But Spence pulled out the Pacquiao fight because he wasn't looking good. So I don't ever think Spence wanted to fight Ugas. I think he was fronting a little bit. Then all of a sudden on some funny shit, the WBA tells Ugas, oh, you can't unify. You have to fight your mandatory Stanionis. We're mandating that. That takes Spence off the hook. Then Spence, after that announcement, like a couple of days later, he's like, yeah, I want to fight Ugas. What's up with that? The WBA. Bullshit. I don't believe it. You didn't say anything before that happened. Now Ugas got to fight Stanionis. So now you're going to come and talk like you wanted that fight. So really, Crawford should really call Spence out if he wins. I think Porter should call out. If Porter wins, he should fight Spence. Because they should have a rematch. Because a lot of people wanted a rematch when Porter lost to Spence. They said they need a rematch. Because Porter, I told people thought Errol was going to stop Porter. I said, no way Errol's stopping Porter. I picked Porter to win against Errol Spence. I thought he was going to win that fight. Yeah, and it was very close.
Looked good in that fight.
Errol looked good later in the fight.
Yeah.
Errol's talented. He throws beautiful combinations in the pocket. And he also digs to the body really well. If you saw that fight, the difference might have been Spence digging to Porter's body a lot. And you're going to see probably Crawford go to the body a lot also. Porter doesn't go to the body that well. Or at least I haven't seen. Porter is good on the outside. You would think he has got a little shorter, but he kind of got a rangy jab and he moves it good. I'm going to see Porter probably fight from the outside. He'll probably take calculated moves to jump on the inside, very calculated with Crawford. He has to be. I think, but you know what happens to with Crawford? The switch hitting messes people up. Right when you think you got Crawford, he'll switch on you, and it changes the whole fight. You don't even realize it. He'll be orthodox. You think you got things going on, and then boom, he's a southpaw. And then you're like, oh, shit. And then boom, he's an orthodox again. And it kind of, fighting from the different stances you got to change your whole thing.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to game plan for a guy who fights one way. To game plan for a guy who does both well, that's tough. I think Crawford is very motivated. I think they tried to spin it yesterday like, oh, Porter said you're not going to. Porter said something and Crawford didn't really respond. And people took that as, oh, Porter's punking Crawford. I hope they do take it, like that. But I'm going to take it as Crawford is just so locked in. He got a PBC guy in the ring that he's going to be. I think you're going to see the best performance of Crawford in a while tonight. I think Porter's always fights well. He's good. He's just a good fighter. He's going to fight well. He's going to show up. I just think Porter's going to be absolutely spectacular tonight, and he's going to get a stoppage in the 9th or 10th.
Porter?
No, Crawford. Oh. My bad. Crawford's going to be spectacular tonight.
I hope he is. I want to see him win. I'm rooting for him because I like him.
Yeah.
I like him as a fighter. I like his scrappy beginnings in Omaha and all that. Like,
Omaha, baby.
Yeah, man. He's the truth.
His fights in Omaha are lit. That's why I was looking, and we saw us in Vegas. I was kind of hoping it was in Omaha because they really get lit in Omaha for Crawford fights. Warren Buffett was at one of them.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he's from Nebraska or from Omaha, I think,
no
too.
Shit.
Yeah. So, it was like Nebraska Nation was out there. It felt like a Cornhuskers football game on Saturday. That's what it was like. It was lit. It had Nebraska's jerseys, people wearing. It was pretty dope.
Oh, they'll be in Vegas.
Yeah, there'll be some Huskers out in Vegas tonight.
They'll be out there rooting for Bud.
But Bud, Bud is so interesting. At 135, you talked about the Gamboa fight with that crazy, great comeback against Gamboa. And people will say, oh, he was hurt by Gamboa. Yeah, Gamboa was undefeated, top 10 pound for pound at the time. See, people don't forget that. It's about when you fight a guy, not what he is 3 years after you fight him. Gamboa is not the same anymore. He's getting beat by guys. But that moment, that was the best Gamboa. And people recognized him.
So did Bud beat him or did time beat him?
No, Bud beat Gamboa ass.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do you think it was more of Bud or was it was just time?
No. I think it was Bud. I think that was the best Gamboa.
And that psychologically, he never recovered
from
that?
I think Bud has that Bud effect.
Yeah.
I call it.
He got in his fucking soul,
right?
Took his soul.
Yeah. He makes you doubt yourself after he beats you. Look what happened. The next, he goes and fights Victor Postal at 140. Now, everyone says, oh, he hasn't fought him. Postal was Ring Magazine #1 in the division and the WBC champion at the time when they unified. And Bud was WBO champion. And Bud just broke him down and started beating his ass in the late rounds. I don't remember if it went the distance or maybe it was a 12th round stoppage, I think. Postal was undefeated champion, never the same again. Lost to Josh Taylor the next fight. But you know what? Postal's only lost 3 fights to 3 really good fighters. He lost to Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, who fought for Undisputed last year, and Bud Crawford. But Bud's the only guy to stop him. Bud beat his ass, Victor Postal.
It's going to be an interesting fight tonight.
And then in Dongo, when they both had 2 belts, and then Dongo wasn't a big name, but he was an undefeated, unified champion. So you got to do something to be that. You can just be undefeated, unified. You got 2 belts, WBA and IBF. That shit don't have to fall in your lap. He's not an email champion. He won those fights in the ring, and Bud Crawford destroyed him.
Called him an email champion.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Bud destroyed him. 4th round knockout, I believe. Devastated him in that fight. And Dongo, again, never lost the next fight. Wasn't the same. Jeff Horn. He moves up to welterweight. First fight, the champ, undefeated from Australia, Jeff Horn, just off a Pacquiao win. Highest point of his career, just beat Pacquiao, WBO champion. Crawford dominates him, stops him in the 9th round. Then Crawford beat Benavidez, which was a tough fight. If you want to look at a tape of Crawford not having issues, it was Benavidez. With his because Benavidez is a high IQ fighter. Jose Benavidez Jr., David Benavidez's older brother, welterweight. Crawford stopped him in the 12th, but it was tough. Benavidez was tricky. He had some good tricks, kind of slowed Crawford down at some points. Then he beat Amir Khan when he was whipping Amir Khan's ass.
Yeah, they stopped that from a low blow.
Yeah, which I thought they didn't give Khan enough time to recover.
He needed a full 10 minutes. They didn't even give it. It was like after. Well, his coach threw in the towel, if I remember correctly. Wasn't that it?
No.
Didn't his coach stop it?
Maybe. I don't remember. Yeah, his coach told him to stop it, but I think it was because they weren't going to give him enough time. He needed a couple more minutes, and they were ready to put him back in the ring. So, but, Bud did dominate the first 5 rounds of that fight. I thought Khan actually was starting to come back a little bit.
He was getting a few combos in.
Yeah.
He was starting to get his footwork in and moving around.
But you seen how Bud leveraged that left uppercut to the body and hit him in the balls. But that was if that would have hit him in the stomach, that might have stopped him.
Yeah. It didn't look like it hit him in the balls. It looked like it hit him right above, right where his thigh would connect to his pelvis.
Yeah, right. That area
it doesn't
that
look
makes
like
you go
it
numb.
was. Yeah, it wasn't right in the yam bag, but close by. There's nothing worse than getting punched in the yam bag.
Yeah,
that'll fuck you up.
So Portar and Crawford tonight. Can't wait for that.
What's the undercard looking like? Any good fights?
Yeah, you know what? Oh, okay. So. What's his name? Alim Kumbali, some Uzbeki, good middleweight. Uzbeki middleweight. He's on the rise. Zanabek. He's fighting Hassan Ndam, ex-champion, guy who was WBA champion for I think once or twice. Ndam's been a middleweight champion. He's a little at the end of the road now, but he's still a good quality fighter. Just a guy who's older now. And Zanabek is impressive, man. He's one of those, like you talked about, those machine Uzbek fighters. They're like machines, bro.
They're made of iron.
Yeah. They just come at you and they looks like they can't even hurt him.
Like fucking just these wild robots.
Yeah, these little Dragos they got running around out there, man.
Shit.
Yeah, he's one of them. He's tough. He's from the mountains, and he's got that mountainous look, like kind of looking like Better Biev a little bit. And what's his name from UFC? Whatever it is called. The guy who beat Conor McGregor. What's his name?
I have no idea.
Oh, shit. What the hell's that guy's name?
Oh, Khabib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those cats.
Yeah, that's hard living out there, bro. It's
that's
cold,
that
mountainous.
Dude, they wrestle grizzly bears.
There's fucking videos
of it. Who was wrestling? Oh, it's Khabib, right?
Khabib, yeah,
oh, my
bro.
God.
Fucking beast.
That's sick, right?
They're breeding monsters out there.
Yeah, forget about it. That guy, Zanabek, Andam, you might as well just take a dive tonight. He's going to beat the shit out of you. I mean, that's a good fight, though. Zanabek is getting ready to be a top contender. So that's an interesting fight to see how he does. Then you got a nice little super bantamweight clash, actually. Pretty nice little fight. Isaac Dogbo and Christopher Diaz. It's an even little fight. I like they both. Isaac Dogbo's a former WBO champion at 122. Diaz is a top contender. I think Dogbo's going to win, though. I like Dogbo. He lost those 2 fights to Navarrete, but people don't realize Navarrete's big time. So, and those were good fights. That's who Navarrete took his first belt from, was Dogbo, and then they rematched. He beat him again. But those are pretty solid. Undercard's decent. Good undercard, solid undercard. 2 good fights. And I heard Jared Anderson, the young American heavyweights, also fighting tonight. So that makes it a good card. He's a knockout dude. He's a big young heavyweight, been knocking people out. So they're building him up. Remember the name Jared Anderson. We'll look for him tonight. He's a big power puncher, big fun guy if you like that. If you like a big heavyweight knocking people out, check for Jared Anderson. But yeah, I'm going to go with Crawford with the stoppage. I think they're going to mix it up in the pocket, and Crawford's going to get the best of it sometimes. And I think Crawford's just going to get that one shot that just stuns Porter and build off that. And I think he's going to get into a situation where he just catches Porter clean and just knocks him out. I don't even know if the ref is going to get to a point where it's a stoppage. I think he's just going to catch him with a clean shot and hit him with a KO shot.
Wow. We'll see, man. Yeah. I say it goes to the cards. They give it a Porter,
which actually the odds say that it is going to go to the cards, because the line is over under 10.5, and it's like minus 200 on over 10.5, which means that Vegas thinks it is going to go to distance. But I'm going to go with the stoppage. Maybe I can make a couple of dollars tonight. Under 10, before 11, I'm going to go with the stoppage.
Let's get it.
For T-Bud, and then we can talk about, hopefully, Bud versus Spence. Can they make it happen? Is it going to be Bud versus Virgil Ortiz?
That's my dude right there.
Yeah,
Virgil
your boy
Ortiz.
Virgil, because I heard Virgil might be next in line on that side for Bud.
Either way, if it goes Spence or Ortiz Jr.,
Yeah.
he's a junior, right?
Yeah, Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Shit.
And there's a third guy, Josh Taylor, undisputed at 140, moving up to fight Terrence Crawford at 147, which there's been rumblings about for a while. So either way, Bud got to go. You know, if Bud wins this fight, he's got another big one right behind him. Hopefully either Spence, Ortiz, or Josh Taylor. So now Bud's got options here for big fights. And, you know, when Bud beat Kavalauskas, I thought that was a great win. Egis Kavalauskas, you know, he's only lost to Virgil Ortiz and Bud. And we saw him. He's fucking hard-hitting, tough, strong Russian with good hands, good combinations. And I don't think Crawford got enough credit for the Kavalauskas win. That was a really good win. And then he beat Kell Brook. Can we talk about the Kell Brook fight real quick? Why nobody gives Crawford respect for beating Kell Brook? Everyone else, Spence got his flowers when he beat Kell Brook. Sean Porter got flowers for losing to Kell Brook. I mean, Kell Brook made him, Kell Brook was an undefeated IBF champion. Then he decided to really test himself and went up and fought Triple G. Two divisions higher, lost to Triple G, hurt his eye socket, then came back down 2 weight classes to fight Spence, got stopped, hurt his other eye socket. So, but that was more weight movement with Brook. I think Brook, so when Brook fought Crawford, he had 3 wins in a row at 154. Obviously, he was healthy. Both eyes healed, everything healed. He had 3 wins in a row. He had just beaten somebody pretty good at 154. Then comes back to fight Crawford. Like, some of the people are saying Kell Brook's going to win. They think Brook's going to beat him. They think Crawford's a fraud. Brook's going to win. You know, it's going to be a tough fight. People were saying going to be a good fight. Crawford stops him in the 4th round, and now Brook's a bum. Now it had no meaning, the fight. When most of y'all saying that, pick Brook to win or to go to distance and be a close fight. That's what y'all picked. But then when Crawford stops him in 4, he's a bum. So tell me now, if Crawford stops this dude in the middle rounds, is Porter going to be a bum washed up too after that? Is that what it's going to be? Oh, Porter, he sucked. He was washed up.
That's right, it stinks.
Is that just let me know? Because then you know that Crawford can never win with y'all. Because you're not going to tell me Porter's a bum if Crawford washes him tonight. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to hear he was Spence's leftovers or whatever y'all like saying. Because Spence's face looked fucked up after he fought Porter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was scuffed up. So we don't want to hear that shit either. So yeah, let me know because I want Bud to have a bouquet by his feet if he gets a stoppage tonight against Porter. That's all I know from y'all. And I'm picking it because, you know, nothing against Sean and Kenny. Like you said, I love Sean and Kenny. They're great. But it's Bud's night tonight. Just like it was Ohio State's day today. I don't even want to talk about that from the last podcast. I'm mumbling over here.
Yo, it feels like Bud has something to prove, though. That's why it's all about who wants it more. And I think you're right. I think Bud does want it more, but I think he's going to get stiffed on the cards.
He could if he gets to the cards.
I think the fix will be in.
I agree with you.
And then basically they're going to set up the next big money fight.
Could be Porter Spence again, part 2. That's another fight they can make from that.
Or Porter ends up in the broadcasting booth and hangs up the gloves.
Yeah.
But I don't think he should. I think he has a lot of good fights left in him.
Yeah. He's always a good fight for anybody. He's a good thrower against Porter. Like Porter's like, you know, a good competition. You beat him, you know you won a good fight. That's a big win on anybody's resume. So you're right. If it goes to the cards, I'm going to be nervous tonight. No matter what I seen, if it goes to the cards, I'm not going to feel good. I'm going to be like, wow, watch Bud get stiffed right now. I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I think Bud may even know that tonight. And he might have that in the back of his head. That could work against you, but that also could make you just thump in there and just say it ain't going to the... It's not going there, Bob Arum. It's not going to the judges that you gave all that money to, Bob. You wasted the money. I'm knocking his ass out. The judges ain't giving you the refund either, you motherfucker.
That's right, it stinks.
Bob pays the judges off, and it don't even matter. T. Bud washes them. And the judges are like, see you, Bob. My next flight's coming. Sorry. Thanks, Bob.
Oh, man.
man.
But I guess we'll see.
We'll see tonight, though, and we're gonna possibly go live.
Maybe we'll go live for a
We
few
might
minutes.
be
during
live
the
for
fight,
a few
you
minutes
know?
during the
A
fight.
little clip.
Yeah, I'll
little
give you
reaction
a little
clips.
play-by-play. He'll do the color commentary on there. We'll Crawford with the right hand to the left hook uppercut to the to the dome.
The Russians cut. And
He's
it's
cut.
a bad cut.
My God, hey, yo, Adrian, I did it.
That's right, it stinks!
Check y'all later.
Later, peace.